Hello, leaders. This is Joshua Evans, not Paul, but it is now the Josh and Paul Show, and I'm here with you on Saturday to chat about some awesome stuff.
The weekend edition, and as Josh already said, this is the temporary Josh and Paul Show, and we're still here at HR Houston. You're not listening to this live, but if you were, you'd be listening right before Josh goes on and speaks to a workshop here. And, you know, the final thing, the weekend edition is always usually geared towards family or how our work life impacts our home life or our work or our life outside of work. So today we're going to talk a little bit different. We're going to talk about org culture, but I think Josh wants to talk to us how org culture impacts or affects our family life. Is that right, Josh?
Absolutely. I think we're all starting to realize there is no hard line between our family life and our work life. I think our personal and our professional lives are so intertwined and interwoven that it's impossible for us to split that. So people talk about work-life balance. I think that's the largest fallacy that's been thrown at professionals. Because everybody goes, you hear the word work-life balance, you're like, oh, good, I'm going to have balance in my life. No. What it is an opportunity for them to tell you to work when they want you to work and to play when they want you to play. And the issue is we're humans, right? So if my kid gets sick, I will drop whatever I'm doing work-wise and I will go deal with my son. Or if there's an emergency with one of my clients, not that I ever have, cultural emergencies with my clients, but if they need something immediately, I will prioritize the thing that really matters the most to me. And it's impossible for us to split those two things fully. And so what I really am trying to say is that it's impossible to separate the two. And so the way I feel at the office has a direct impact on how I feel at my home life. And so I don't know about you, but I've had a couple of days that have been, not bad days, but very challenging days in my life. And so if you have a challenging day at the office, and you will absolutely bring that home with you. I've done this thing where I've driven home and I'll park in the driveway, and I want to kind of like shake off the day or the bad mojo that I got from, some bad meeting or some hard conversation I had to have with a client, and before I can go in the house, because I don't want to take that inside, but we know that it affects us. Just like if our home life is going well, then our organization, our lives in our professional capacity are going to be better. And so we really need to think about how our work on a day-to-day basis impacts how we approach our home every evening and how we deal with our family over the weekend. Because if I'm stressed at work, guess what? It's a lot easier to be stressed at the house. If I'm frustrated with my boss or if I'm frustrated with my employees, it's going to make me more frustrated with my wife and my children. And so the better we can be about treating each other with respect and being humanized and really focusing on the positive emotional aspect of actually being human, it's going to allow us to really enjoy life to its fullest. And that happens on both sides of the element. I'm sure you've seen this too, Paul.
Yeah, that's I couldn't agree more with you on this topic, because I too agree that life, when you try to separate work and life, it's kind of like stepping out of this especially goes kind of what we've been talking about all week about org culture. If you are not authentic and you don't like your job, you don't love your job, man, you're putting on like a costume every time you're going to work and you're being a different person. And man, when you get home, if you had a great day, things are always better at home. If you have a bad day at work, things are always worse at home, it seems. And I'm bad at turning on and off my emotions and my feelings, because man, I wear it on my sleeves, and if anybody's around me, they usually know what kind of mood I'm in, and that's not always a good thing.
But it's so human, and that's what that's part of the whole experience. And so and this is a great story. The other day, I was working on a potential client. We had these discussions about coming in, doing this. It was going to be a huge presentation. I was very excited about it, and then I got an email saying that I didn't get it, right? That they decided to go another direction, which means that they hired somebody else, or didn't hire anybody, but they didn't hire me, is what they essentially. And I mean, I don't care how good you are at your job. I don't care how successful you are. Somebody saying that, we don't want you, it still hits you personally, right? No matter how good you are, it still feels like a personal denial of your abilities or of your value to society. And the best thing I could do in that moment, because we are human, is I went straight to my wife and I explained what was going on. I was like, I'm having a rough day because of this. And so I just want you to know that I'm not mad at y'all. I'm just kind of sulking.
That's so.
And
that's
so
good.
the sooner I can be honest with her about it, the easier it is for her to comfort me instead of. And I've had these moments other times when I used to be an employee of other people before I owned my own business. I'd have a bad day at the office, and I wouldn't take the time to explain to my wife that I had a bad day. So I'd come home, and it's like, well, you didn't even thaw the chicken. What's going on? Why haven't you done that yet? Or hey, why are we still having to do this? Why do I have to do all the dishes? And it turns into a battle instead of me actually explaining what's going on. And I think if we can take the time to share more honestly and authentically, right, about what's going on in our work, right, as to why our mood is bad or even good, right, because I love sharing my wins with my wife as well. I think that it makes us not just vulnerable, but it makes us more lovable.
Oh, man.
And so I think it's really, and you said being authentic, I think it's really a piece of integrity. Yeah, I think we have to be aware of integrity between the two. I can't go have a bad day and my wife can't expect me to be great as soon as I walk in back downstairs from my office.
So it's an understanding that your family really needs to understand.
But we still we have a burden of communication. Right? We have to communicate that something happened that put us upset. We can't just take that downstairs and think that we can shake it off. We have to be real with our wives, right? We have to be authentic with them.
And that brings up a good point, because sometimes we work really hard and train to communicate better with our people at work. And a lot of times when we leave work and go home,
it's all out the window.
Yeah, we don't work to communicate with our families and our kids and our friends as well as we do with our coworkers. So, man, and that's a whole nother, I think maybe that will be the topic of next week. Who knows?
There you go.
But anyway, let's wrap it up there. And Josh, man, I really appreciate you being on the show all this week. And it's been a lot of fun.
This one got a little serious.
Yeah.
I don't want you to take I'm so excited that I get to talk with you, man. It really has been fun this week.
It is. I think we may have to do this more often, maybe on a Zoom call or something.
There you go.
We can record it. Josh, tell the people how they can get a hold of you. What's the best way?
You can check out my website. It's joshuamevans.com. You can hit me up on social media. That's at enthusiasticyou, or you can check out my podcast, which is the Corporate Culture Cleaner Show.
So the Corporate Culture Cleaner Show. Yeah. That's on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, probably anywhere that you can download a podcast. So if you're listening to this show, Run to Your Challenges on iTunes, you can get it anywhere, and it's on there. If Josh is not on Alexa yet,
I'm sorry,
but I'm still working on that, and maybe it'll be on Alexa soon. So for you Alexa listeners, just go ahead and download iTunes, or I don't know if you got a Samsung or it's some other, just search podcast on your phone. So hey, that's it for today. As always, thank you for listening.
The Josh and Paul Show.
The Josh and Paul Show. I greatly appreciate all of you, and until next time, have a great rest of your weekend. Josh?
Run to your challenges.